Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy Church of Caboose and welcome back to my channel. This video we will be talking about how to tighten your ass off so you can clap cheeks in any kind of PvE activity. Now most of the footage, and this is going to be kind of geared towards GMs because the footage is GMs just came out with the Grandmaster Nightfalls, so just be aware that's what the footage is, although necessarily it's not going to be like, hey, you have to only use this for GMs. It's just that's kind of the primary focus where I find myself using this stuff, but you can use it in anything. It's gonna be way better and more fun the easier the content is because it'll do more stuff. You'll have more cheeks to clap in lower content. So without further ado, let's get on into this. Now to start, I'm gonna just go ahead and real quick mention I wish I had used this and tried this out before doing the Light Blade GM, and then I wish I had tried using this the first couple of tries of doing the Glassway and not the last try where I successfully pulled it off and beat the Glassway GM. I did those on Platinum, or at least the Glassway was on Platinum, and this is a really good build. It works fantastically because there's arc grenades that can do overload damage or stun overloads with the seasonal artifact. This will work really well for GMs or really anything that has overloads, but you don't have to use it only for overloads. You can do this for anything, right? So that's what I'm gonna have here on screen, just like with the character fragments aspects were picked and all that stuff. The main thing is going to be to have the same aspects and fragments, and of course storm grenades. Then to have the exotic to make it even better, you need to have on Helm or the Heart of Inmost Light, that exotic Titan chest piece. You might have noticed on the whole video holding over here of what I'm using that I only have 26 discipline, which means I have tier 2 discipline. I don't really get grenades back by themselves very quickly, but I think you'll notice from this Grandmaster footage I was actually getting a lot of grenades, at least I felt like it, to come back, and I could reasonably count on getting one it seemed about like every 30 seconds, to include being able to use them twice in panic moments with some wirings inside of the Glassway. So just do with that what you will. Now the whole gist of this is going to be is those storm grenades are going to be able to last longer if you use these right aspects. They will track targets more. You can stun champions with them, specifically overloads, and then you can jolt targets, which will mean that your grenade not only is doing grenade damage, but it'll like jolt out stuff. So like shaboom, lightning rod to other areas. So it's basically like calling on Zeus to be your right hand man every time you throw a grenade. That's how it works. It does track a little bit when you throw it on the ground, so you don't have to be perfect with your throw, but obviously if you miss by too much, well then you gotta wait for that grenade to charge up. And then the other key for making this work really well, besides those ionic traces, which again is a mod on the seasonal artifact, is worth 4 energy and it goes on the class item, and that mod is called Surge Detonators. Alright, so besides that, you want to be using your abilities as much as possible. Now when you're inside of a Grandmaster, it's going to be a lot easier just to throw up a barricade as much as you can to get your grenade energy back, because you are using the exotic of the chest piece, the Heart of Inmost Light. So every time you throw up that barrier, you start getting your other abilities back faster for a short duration. It's like 10 seconds. Alright, then those ionic traces are coming, which gives you more abilities. And so with a Grandmaster, you're not going to realistically be doing lots and lots of punching unless it's like, ah, shit, stuff is happening, I can't control, like things are just, otherwise you're just mostly going to be focusing on shooting things with guns and abilities. And so then of course using your barrier as much as you can will be helpful. With this build, I don't really see barriers in GM for the Titans, you know, trying to get grenades, as being used to actually protect you. They don't last super long. I kind of view them more as like they can protect you for a little bit so you can get a revive or something, but otherwise just stick them into a wall or whatever, and you just mostly use them to feed into your grenades. At least that's what I was doing. You must probably notice from some of these GM footage, the grenades can last for a while and they will stun overloads, and it is great, especially if you have something like Le Monarch, because the Glassway happens to have Void Singe, so you're doing some insane grenade stuff, plus Void Singe on Le Monarch, which is also overload and does poison stuff, and it just works really well. So I encourage you guys to mess around with this. I think it's a lot of fun. The first time I tried using it this season, I was like, whoa, which was today. I was like, you know what? With Solar 3.0, I waited way too long to mess around with the builds and then realized, oh my gosh, like those revitalizing blast things. It's like, holy cow, this is a lot of fun. Why wasn't I doing this before? And I said, self, you learn a lesson, try this out now instead of waiting to the end of the season. And I tried it out and it is fantastic. So now we're just going to real briefly try to give some tips here for the Glassway. The Glassway itself is really not crazy hard. It's pretty straightforward and simple until you get to the boss fight, right? Really the only part up to the boss fight I can give really tips for would be there's like 2 little boss room mini boss things. Kind of just hang back, throw your grenades, shoot stuff, like whatever. Not a big deal. Eventually everything will die and just play your life. Try to die as little as possible. Then the other stuff you can do, which is really the only kind of like, maybe you worth some tips part, is where you charge up the plate so you can make the radiolarian fluid go down on the little traversing area leading up to the actual boss fight. What you can do is just have someone stand on the plate, ads spawn in, everyone go behind the pillar, kill ads, use your grenades, whatever, and then go on the plate, kill ads, then just kind of repeat that over and over until it's all the way charged up. Of course, having a stasis warlock is very helpful throughout this whole thing. You might notice in this footage we had a Titan doing glacier freezing stuff, and that worked out pretty well because you could freeze up a whole wall, which worked great. Especially if you had like wire-ins closing on us, you could just throw that grenade in like whatever hallway and block off the area and kind of give us the opportunity to deal with the other one and then go to the wire-in. These storm grenades, by the way, were also fantastic for wire-ins, and I tried to thunder crash them sometimes, but for some reason I missed most of the time. But anyways, so the boss fight's the main thing where there's tips for this Glassway. This is one of the harder GMs if you don't know what you're doing. So tip number 1, this main video focuses on like the Titan storm grenade thing, but hey, DFA double loot, why not talk real briefly about the Glassway? So tip number 1 for the boss fight is do not look at the boss's health as being the thirds, right? Because the ads will spawn in every like 1/8 of life. Right, so just pay attention in the bottom left screen. Whenever it says when a champion appears, then you just go ahead, make sure you kill all the ads and champions before you do more boss damage. Because if you don't pay attention to it, like one of our teammates did by killing one when we didn't really need him to, you spawn in extra stuff. So like you might potentially make yourself have to deal with like 8 anti-barriers and 4 wire-ins all at the same time, and that seems dang near impossible, and I do not suggest you guys do that. So just pay attention when you're doing damage. Like if it says that the champion appears, kill the champions that are available, kill everything else, then do the boss, and just repeat that over and over, and it goes back and forth. Another thing I noticed was whenever it's the mini Hydra that's out, there are overloads. Whenever it's the big Hydra that's out, there are anti-barriers and wire-ins. Wire-ins are really annoying, but they always can get one on the left side. So if you're in that left little area where you see me as in the gameplay kind of chilling out, if you go to the far left, there is a teleporter against the area where the Hydra spawn in from that will have a wire-in spawn whenever there's a wire-in, and then an overload will also spawn there. So if you're able to, you could throw a storm grenade with your teammates onto that area and just laser down the wire-in and then book it back. The key thing with that, though, is there's the big Hydra that's roaming around, and the big Hydra will probably rotate towards you and shoot a lot of damage, and it's really high potential to get a team wipe if you're not paying very close attention. So what I suggest doing is if you can't beam it down and absolutely kill that wire before the boss shows up, just get as weak as you can and then just go to safety. Worst case scenario, someone thunder crashes him and that wire just goes away, and you just deal with the other one. Alright, so that's tip number 2. And tip number 3 would be just to take your sweet time. If you're able to have a Wither Horde, that will be kind of nice because you can Wither Horde the shield of the Hydras, either one of them, and not have to actually get direct hits or use anti-barrier weapons to get direct hits through the shield. The Wither Horde will just do damage by hitting the shield. Storm grenades will also do damage to these Hydras. It will kind of track through the shields a little bit, so you will have some immune markers. It will also do some damage. Not a ton of damage, but hey, a little bit of damage is better than no damage, and when you're trying to really keep track of how much damage you're doing, a little bit's not a bad thing. You know, it's not so much about how much damage you're doing, it's how you use it. All right, so that's going to be this video. That's just kind of the Glassway stuff. Good luck with doing it. Hopefully you get some fun playing with Titan things. I mostly found this to be helpful with GMs. I don't really tend to mess around too much with builds and things that aren't like master raids and GMs, just because for whatever reason it's just not my thing. I'd rather just slap on some stuff and go, but this is a lot of fun, and I'll probably keep on using this throughout the season. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Please comment down below what you like trying to mess around with Arc. The Hunter stuff's pretty cool. The Warlock's got some cool stuff. I just mostly play on a Titan, and the Grandmaster requirements for power are starting to get annoying. Until this season, I was kind of elitist and was like, oh, just play the game. And now I'm like, it's kind of annoying, with having more stuff going on to try and get to max power plus 15 artifact and go from there. And then I had to like level stuff up for Lifeblade. It was just the whole thing. But anyways, please comment down below, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, or else Oryx is going to come haunt your dreams. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I am Church of Caboose. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.